Hey folks, Randy Newberg here. Thanks for watching this episode from Season 9 of Fresh Tracks. Did you know that our Fresh Tracks Plus platform now has a free option? Yeah, if you go over there, you can watch this episode and a few others ad-free. And those of you who are paid subscribers, you already know. You can get a lot of exclusive content there. You get early access to content. You get invited to our exclusive live streams. And some of you even win an hour of FaceTime with me where we can plan your hunt. Go check out freshtracks.tv at the link below. I'm here on the public lands of Idaho chasing archery elk, which anyone who knows, public land archery elk is a challenge. And I'll be honest, part of the reason I picked this area is because I've driven by it before and it's always appealed to me. And I wanted to say, I've hunted that area before. And then when I started doing the research and found out this area has a pretty decent number of elk, you can shoot any elk in archery season, cow, big bull, spike bull, anything in between. It's just wild, cool country. And with me on this hunt is Kurt Howard. Kurt's the general manager and one of the co-owners of Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. If you're going to go on an elk hunt that requires good calling, don't come with me. Come with Kurt and the crew at Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls. My job was to pick the area and hopefully have a general plan. Winter weather advisory effect from noon Monday, which is today, to midnight Monday night. So today, above 6,000 feet. Well, we're going to be at 8,400 feet. What? Snow expected above 6,000 feet. I am not making this up, folks. 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, the wind chill, 1 degree Fahrenheit. This is crazy. I surely did not bring enough clothes. This is going to be so miserable, I cannot believe it. Kurt Howard, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, brings wonderful weather. He said, just come on, show up in Idaho. And
I'd have had a whole lot that would never do this early. When Randy and I were discussing, we got to chatting about an opportunity to hunt together, and he said, well, he was going to do an Idaho backcountry hunt with llamas. Was I interested in that? And I'm like, heavens yes. I had never done the llama thing. I've done backpack hunts just with your boots. I've done them with horses, but never done them with the llamas, so I was very interested when he asked me.
We made the call that we would tough it out at the trailhead that night. Actually, me and Jonathan, the camera guy, we slept in my truck. He across the back seat, me in the driver's seat just tilted back. And then Kurt slept in his truck. Well, camera guy, he says, well, I get the back seat. So I'm sitting here in a Ford Raptor and the front seat is reclined as possible. The camera guy, he's back there. They got this big wide cab on a Ford Raptor. He's already snoring back there, Jonathan.
Just about.
And I'm humped up like a monkey chasing a football here. And I'm not expecting that I'll get a good night's sleep, but day one from elk camp, if you want to call the inside of the cab of a Ford Raptor in a 40-mile-an-hour wind, elk camp. Brr. There we go. Well,
don't know if they say this in the llama world, but we do in this world. You guys are good enough for government work. Huh? Now I gotta go get my pack, and then we're gonna start singing. Huh? Quigley's gonna sing, I guess. The rest of these guys aren't real fond of him.
I was really looking forward to this week, truthfully, just to get away from the craziness of this year. And 2020 has been crazy for everybody from all different perspectives. And I'll be honest with you, I was worn out, but this has been a very refreshing week to get away from the phones, to get away from the email, and come back to God's country and, you know, the root of what all of us that love the outdoor in the West, why we do.
By the time we get in here and get camp set up, everything else, it's 3 o'clock. And we still have time for an afternoon hunt, so we actually climbed up these ridges. There's some lower ridges below us here. And that very first evening, I'd say the 4th call that Kurt made, he got a bugle response.
Try to get about 75 yards up there and take the call from here and see if we can find him. There's Randy. We left him right there at the edge of those trees. He's gonna cow call from there, so.
And so we moved in and tried our best to get him to come, but there was some really thick blowdown out in front of us, about 80 yards, something like that. And he just stood behind all that blowdown and thick timber and would bark at us. He wasn't quite to that point where he was ready to commit and be that super active rutting bull out. But for the first afternoon, my thought was, all right, that's good.
Did you know he was even there till he barked the first time? I don't know. Me neither. Completely. I know. I already lost one arrow. He's got to be back the river crawling.
So having that encounter that first evening, I had pretty big hopes for the next day. Really big hopes, actually. So we start up the mountain, leave right at daylight. We're bugling and listening and bugling and listening, and we aren't hearing anything. We made big loops through all these ridges and we ended up way back over that way. And I look at my map, I'm like, well, we're back here. With over 4 miles of a trek remaining. And my mind was thinking, all right, how do you pull the rabbit out of this hat, Randy? This is not good. You just made today a 9-mile loop, and you heard one for sure bugle and a couple possible bugles. And in my mind, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Kurt is of the impression that I led him on a goose chase. He's being good about it. He's not saying a word. He's smiling. But let's face it, when you put on 9 miles in big country like this and you don't raise hardly but one bugle, that's discouraging. 500 yards. Back at camp. 9 miles. I'm guessing 14 hours later. Yep, about that. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to do this kind of hunting. My left knee is saying, hey, what do you do to me today? But tomorrow's another day. We get back to camp that night. Everybody's tired, and we all hit the sack early. All night long, from about 1 in the morning until about 4:30 in the morning, there are elk within a half mile of our tent, bugling. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? We have the moon going into the new moon phase. We've got cool temperatures during the day. Why are these elk not doing this during the day? And it was crazy. But I woke up pretty excited that, all right, I know where they went. I know what direction they were going with the last bugles. Well, the idea is to go find those elk that kept us up all night and make them pay. Good with that, Kurt?
I'm good with that.
You know what will be good when this hunt is done, Kurt?
What's that?
I said you'll be that much more acclimated for your Montana trip. And I'll be that much more acclimated for my Wyoming trip.
I thought you were going to say something like, you'll never have to do it again or something like that. This country lays out with big sage mountains with strips of dark timber down every drainage. And we walk those ridges, calling down into that timber, calling. Nothing. I don't know where the elk went to. They must have just kept right on trucking. Nothing you can do about it other than keep hiking. So I told Kurt, well, let's loop way around and see if the herd we thought that had cows had departed in a different direction. Let's loop way over there. So we start making that loop and we stop, and Kurt wants to get some water in his water canister. And he looks up there over my shoulder, he's like, what's that back there on that ridge? No, it's an elk. Oh, it's an elk.
Sure enough, it's a spiked bull. We waited and got in there, got in the dark timber, set up, did a bunch of cow calling sequences, thinking, well, if there's a spike there, he'll certainly come to some cow calls. No, I don't know where he went, but we tried our dangest to get him to come out, but he wouldn't show his face. If that was you, I'd find a better guy to go with next time.
Your call sounded good. I guess we're not close enough to him or something.
After about an hour, we start making a loop even further north, and we look at these ridges down below us here, and I see this raghorn bull standing there. It was like, man, this could be really good. Let's go loop way back around, make that loop, get the wind in our face again, and see if we can call that raghorn in. One of these bulls is a nice 6-point. He's got all the cows. We know that there's a spike out there, and we know that the raghorn is out there. So the idea is spikes and raghorns usually come in pretty easily this time of year. We set up, we start calling, or I start calling, and Kurt and Jonathan, the camera guy, are set up out there about 70, 80 yards, and nothing. So all of a sudden I look up where the 6-point and his cows are, and here comes a 5-point out there, along with the spike. And that 5-point is making way more noise than anybody. So I start making some just whiny cow calls. He turns and he starts coming down the mountain, but there's a fence between us and him.
He's gonna come.
So with Kurt and Jonathan out in front there, I keep laying to the cow call, man. I am really giving it the business. That bull will come down a little bit, but he just won't come the whole way. And I'm looking through my binoculars, watching our guys, seeing what their behavior is. And all of a sudden I see Kurt grab for his bugle. And I'm like, what's that all about?
Hey folks, Randy Newberg here. Hope you're enjoying this episode from season 9 of Fresh Tracks. It's been out on our Fresh Tracks Plus platform since we launched last September, and now we're launching season 10 over there. No matter where you watch us, whether it's on YouTube or whether you're one of our paid subscribers, we thank you. And if you want to check out Fresh Tracks Plus, I hope you go to the link below. It'll take you to freshtracks.tv. Whether you sign up for the free version over there or you sign up for the paid version, either way, we really appreciate it.
I see a cow and a calf.
Up from the right, I didn't see it. The camera guy seen it. Jonathan seen it and told me that there was an elk coming. And it was about 100 yards out, coming up from the right, which we kind of expected that's where the raghorn would come from. And when it came up, it was actually a calf and a cow. And as they moved from our right to left, the bull shows up. And at that point, we were probably 5 minutes away from losing camera light. And I made the decision to bugle. I couldn't see Randy in the brush, and I couldn't signal him to bugle, because if I could have, I would have had him probably try to rake or something, just to get that bull to make maybe a 50-yard more of approach to kind of see what was going on. And I put the challenge bugle on that bull. And I mean, I gave him everything I had right in his face, thinking that I would either get him to come over or scare him off the mountain.
And he lets out a rip-roaring bugle.
The result of it, nothing really happened. He looked at me, the cows kind of looked at me, not knowing what I was, couldn't see me or anything, but they heard that bugle. And I did not get the reaction I expected to, but we did get that nice 5-point bull within 100 yards of us.
So when it was all said and done, there were 2 5 points, a raghorn, a spike, and then the big 6 point. And they still were not that worked up. So we made note of that. And we walked out of here in the dark last night. It was a long walk.
My only goal is to make sure that I can walk up to that basin. If I can get there, everything else, Kurt's giving the instructions today because I'm fumbling. Yeah, right. So I've had you tell me stand here and shut up, or stand here and call, or go up there and call. That's what I'm doing.
We tried that yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah,
Okay.
but there just weren't any elk right there.
Gotcha.
So, you okay with that?
Sure.
All right.
Something along the way will change that plan. You know it will.
We got to the same spot we were at last night. Just when we got here, a group of about 8 cows crossed into the timber. We're waiting to see if a bull is with them, but they're not saying anything. No bugling, nothing. We ended up calling and doing a setup that we'd heard this bugle. So we went over that direction, called down towards him. We couldn't get a response, but we got responses about a mile the other way, just really faint. I thought, well, I'm gonna call and see if we can see where he's at again. And while we're standing there, Kurt says, there's some elk crossing out in front of us there.
I seen a cow walk through that opening from left to right, headed this way, but there's such a thick bunch of trees here, I can't keep my tabs on where she's headed.
I look, and here comes one really close at like 60, 70 yards. I'm like, Kurt, right there. And it was a cow. She fed right out in front of us, had no idea we were there. We had the wind perfect. And so the idea was he'd sneak up there, and if he could get within 50, he was gonna shoot. He preferably 40, and we'd pointed to this tree that was like, I don't know, 12, 14 yards away. He'd had a 40-some yard shot, and she was just perfectly quartered away. Wouldn't you know, as luck would have it, she sees a greener piece of grass over there and starts walking over there. Wasn't spooked, wasn't anything, just found something better to eat. And Kurt's sneaking through these trees, and he looks at me like, where'd she go? I'm like, she walked off, eating.
I can't believe those cows came. I stood right in that spot for 2 hours. And then they walked right through where we do our nap. They don't care, do they? Evidently, they don't care.
After those 3 cows crossed in front of us, we thought, all right, we've got a good wind tonight. We're gonna start working our way down the hill, and we had this prevailing wind that was, it was weird. It was wrapping around the hill and coming up, which was perfect for the approach we were taking.
And so we're going and we're going and we're hearing just a faint bugle, like almost like a bull laying in his bed like, oh, I should bugle, but I'm tired.
We're in between him and the cows, so that's usually phenomenal.
And all of a sudden,
That's not good.
we hear hoofbeats, just boom, 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 boom. And we knew it had happened. We got one of those little changes of wind that started, instead of it going this way, it started going that way. And those elk that were down there to our left just blew out of there. And that was our big hope for that afternoon. And it just didn't turn out. This probably exemplifies what people have heard me say many times, is that no amount of hard work can overcome bad luck, and no ineptitude and just folly can overcome or defeat good luck.
People can't do that.
Saturday, we get up out of bed, and there is a bull bugling down the drainage from us. He's really worked up. And I'm like, holy cow, I'm glad I told Kurt that we're not leaving till you bugle from camp. Because Jonathan, the camera guy, had been up a little bit in the morning, and he said, hey, I think I hear a bull way, way in the distance. Well, Kurt hits one bugle, and that guy right back at us. We're like, this is it.
We got a live wire here. We got to get going. Kurt got them all rounded up, fired up.
I don't have them rounded up. I might have them fired up.
They're coming to the dams. We're going there to show them how to boogie.
So we start going, and we can hear this bull worked up. We get to this little patch of aspens, and I glass, see some cows, some more cows, and all of a sudden this bull, he's just gray with mud. He comes walking up out of the bottom, bugling. I'm like, this is it. We finally found a bull that wanted to call. And we're feeling a wind that's 90 degrees from them, but yet they take off.
Yeah, he stopped right now.
But what's he looking at when he stops?
I don't know.
He's running after
He's
the cow.
running. He's looking at the cows. He's doing whatever they do.
Well, then we find out that the cowboy had ridden up the drainage on the same side we are, and the elk see him. That was Saturday morning's big event. Boy, I was all excited. I thought we had him. This is finally the bull all week Kurt and I have been talking, if we could just find that one bull who has a cow that is ready, that has got him worked up, we'll have some action. Well, didn't work out like we hoped. More of the same. So, we're done. We don't have an elk to show you. We didn't even get a close encounter. That's elk hunting. That's public land elk hunting. And sometimes you hit it and you get that cow that has every bull on the mountain fired up. And that's what we live for, right? We tried hard. I mean, we went in there 5 miles. We never saw another hunter, which on an over-the-counter unit in Idaho is pretty remarkable. And we saw elk every day. Yeah, we didn't see a lot of bulls, but we were seeing elk. Just, it's one of those hunts that we have them and we show them to you. If you hunt public land, highly pressured elk on over-the-counter units, you're gonna have times like this. I mean, I often say sometimes you get more than you deserve and sometimes you don't get what you think you deserve. Well, a hunt like this, I feel like we worked hard enough that we deserved an elk, but we didn't get one. But I had a great time with Kurt. We got the llamas out, went and saw some country that I've driven by here so many times and said, someday I'm hunting that. Well, guess what? I went and hunted it.
I think the most memorable thing for me this week, just getting to know Randy on a more of a raw level. You know, when you're out here in the middle of nowhere and you're limited to what you bring in as far as provisions and stuff, and you hike up these hills and you share sweat and all of the effort it takes, and then the conversations and stuff, you just get to know someone at just a really raw root level. And Randy and I had never got a chance to do that, and I think that'll take that away the most. It really enriched our friendship.
If you've got a friend, if you've got someone you've known, go do that. Don't say someday. And I can guarantee you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna have some ups, some downs. You're gonna learn some things, whether you have success or failures. I mean, I learned a lot on this hunt. We head home, going to Montana, gonna go shower, get a couple nights sleep at home, and off to Wyoming. And 2 weeks of Wyoming between deer and elk, and we'll see how that goes.